Today, a little bonus video for you. I'm in an Aston Martin. More accurately, I'm in the back of an Aston Martin. Because this is an example of, I think, Aston's second weirdest car of the last decade. Let's take a look round. In case you haven't worked it out yet, this is a Rapide. Now, I'm down here today at Stratton Motor Company to do a little bit of filming with a couple of other cars. You may have seen those videos already, and I saw this thing in the showroom and I thought, well, I just have to show you guys around it because it is most unusual. I see these very, very rarely. I'd say I see maybe a handful each year. I go to London, which is basically Aston Martin Central. Now, if you weren't aware, this thing is Aston's attempt at making a four-door, proper four-seat car. Now, if you go over there, Laura, you'll be able to see the sheer scale of it. This thing is a full foot longer, actually a little bit more, than a DB9. And this tiny little back door here hides a couple of actually quite nice rear seats. In fact, if you come closer once more, you can have a bit of a look at those. They're very well sculpted, and it's a pretty intimate cockpit in there. It does feel quite special. Really, it's very odd. It's a mix between sitting in the front of an Aston and sitting in the back of something more luxurious, but you don't have the massive amount of space that you might expect from something like a big S-Class or a A8 or something like that. Certainly nowhere near Rolls-Royce levels of comfort. Now, if you come to the front, it's very traditional Aston Martin up here, because the beating heart of this 2-ton slice of luxury is the 6-litre Aston Martin V12. Now, this is a 2010 model, and this put out 470 horsepower. Now, granted, it's not a huge sum, but it's still enough to carry you, your passengers, and your luggage to 60 miles an hour in 5.2 seconds and onto a top speed of 188. Fuel economy? Don't ask. It's an odd car, these, because when you see them, I have to wonder for a second what it is that I've seen, because from some angles it looks very much like you've just seen either a Vanquish or a DB9 or some other sort of Aston Martin product. Now, from the driver's seat, it is very much like one of those cars. Come around here and have a look inside. It's basically the second generation interior that you get with the 4.7 litre V8 Vantage and so on and so forth. There you are. It's got some neat tricks. The doors hold themselves in many different positions, which is something that the new V8 Vantage does. You'll notice that they open up at about 15 degrees. Now, of course, it's all leather and beautiful stitching. This car is in a colour called Quantum Silver, so called because it was featured in the James Bond film Quantum of Solace. You can't have an Aston without mentioning Bond, it seems. Now, in terms of luggage space, it's not brilliant. It is okay, but you're not going to get 4 sets of clubs in here. But this really is designed as an alternative businessman's express. These were never going to sell in massive numbers, but they are certainly an odd car if ever there were one. I don't want to break it. There we are. But I gave this video a title. And okay, granted, it's a little bit of a clickbaity one, but I tend to think clickbait's okay if you can deliver the goods. Well, I hope you agree. This car, when it was new, £150,000 before options. This one, a few years later, a few miles, not many miles, about 30-something thousand miles, 56 grand. That's about the same as a fairly nice V8 Vantage or very heavily spec'd A-Class if you want to pay retail price on those. Sort of entry-level price for a BMW M4. I mean, I know sometimes people, myself included, we look at what a new car costs, and then you always go and look at the weird used car you get with the same, you know, people that start off looking at some sort of, you know, Daihatsu or something and then go, oh, for the same money I'll get a 15-year-old M3. Well, here's the ultimate used bargain, because this thing is quite incredible. And this is also a great example of the really, really weird and bizarre stuff that turns up here at Stratton. If you didn't know, they are an Aston heritage workshop in terms of people to look after your car. They are regarded as one of the best in the country and therefore the best in the world. I've seen what they keep out the back. I'm putting a video up soon of the open day they had here soon. You will have seen pictures and things on social media from that. They have the most gorgeous selection of cars here. In fact, I'll give you a free little extra bit of Aston Martin pornography because I want to give you guys value for money. I've suckered you in with a bit of clickbait, so I'll give you value for money. I'm going to get my poor cameraman to wander through the expensive minefield, so come this way. We have our lovely salesman, Alex, there, keeping his head down, but he's a fantastic guy, so if you want to buy any of the Lotus stuff, certainly, you come speak to him. I'm trying not to look at this Esprit, because it's just... No, down. Anyway, back here and through there, they keep some very, very special stuff, including this. V600 Le Mans, very topical car because Aston have just announced they're going to do a final run-out version of the V12 Vantage. They're going to call it the V600. This is the car they're harking back to. The Le Mans one in particular, you can recognise it by this snout here. 600 horsepower, V8, 2 superchargers. This one, a snip, £510,000. Too cheap for you? Okay. How about this absolutely drop-dead gorgeous DB5 in autumn gold, which is just... I doubt the camera's doing this justice because the lighting in here is a bit funky, but this is stunning. I don't really even actually like DB5s. I know it's sacrilege. I'm not a big fan of the shape of them. They've never really done much for me. More of an E-Type person, if I'm honest. And more of a Dino person than that, if I'm really, really honest. Very unusual car, fitted with an automatic transmission. Probably a very rare, expensive and unusual option for the time. £985,000. And the other one's got twice as many cylinders. That's a real bargain. Well, hope you've enjoyed this little weird bonus video. Give it a like if you have, of course. Please subscribe. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.